My name's Alisha. I'm Pastor John's wife, and I got to lead this trip. I got the privilege of leading this amazing group to Belize. First time for me since before COVID, so it was about 5 years since I was in Belize. Pastor John has led a couple trips when they started letting us go back, but I think we had a either 2 or 3 year break that we didn't get to go. We've been taking trips, mission teams to Belize. I think we're on about 12 years. I don't know, somebody with a better brain can let me, 11, okay, so around 11 years, and besides COVID, we go at least annually. Every year we do a little bit different. It really just depends on the team that we take and, you know, the skills that each person possesses that's on that team. This year we did kids camps, so kind of similar to a vacation Bible school. We worked in 2 different orphanages, morning at one and afternoon at the other, and each orphanage had about 60-ish kids, give or take. We played games with them. We did Bible lessons, crafts, sports, all sorts of stuff. You saw most of it up there. A few of the other things, we took 15 suitcases full of donations with us. That was one of our biggest. Are you trying to get down? Let's see. You want to? Maybe. One of our biggest donation years, and that's all thanks to you guys and everyone that donated. We took school shoes for every single kid at one of the orphanages, and then we just took tons of other donations, specific things that they have need for in Belize. Always fixing basketball hoops every year. The kids all love basketball, and every year we go, at least one of the hoops. So this was the whole rim we fixed this year. And what else can you think of that we did? I guess everybody can share when it's their turn. But that was the main stuff this year. Highlights for me, that's kind of the point of us coming up here, is just sharing our hearts and what I think, what God was doing in our hearts as we were on this trip. It's always a highlight for me to take my kids on mission trips. My son Aaron, my daughter-in-law Parker, our other son Colby, he lives in Bremerton, so he's not here this morning. 2 other team members also live down in Renton, so they're also not with us this morning. But that's always a big highlight. Having Marlene come for the very first time this year. She worked so hard. She worked really, really hard to get herself to have the physical ability to be able to travel that far and to have, it's a strenuous trip, as we could all attest to. The heat, the extreme travel, just all of it, it's very strenuous, and it was just awesome to watch you, even in the struggles, to still have a positive attitude and be glad that you were there. So that was really cool. And just to see the team work through the different bumps in the road. Every year there's challenges. We broke down on the side of the road this year for about an hour is all that we were sitting there in the heat with the mosquitoes, but they brought us a new van, so that was just kind of a minor bump. And our flights got canceled, so that was the biggest thing. We were part of that whole IT catastrophe, and they just literally completely canceled our flights. We had to rebook them on our own. Delta didn't reschedule us, so we missed 2 days of our trip. Very unfortunate. We were sitting in a Denny's. We left SeaTac after waiting for probably 4.5 hours in a line trying to get it straightened out. Nothing happened. We had to cancel our flights, so we went to Denny's at 2 a.m. in SeaTac and rebooked flights together. So that was fun. But everybody just had, awesome attitudes, and, we always say flexibility is the name of the game, and I think this group just really did a good job with that. So really proud of all of you, and it was just such a blessing to be able to travel with each of you and serve in Belize. Lastly, because I know I'm taking up a lot of time, there's a little boy named Jordell. He's 8 years old. He has an extreme skin condition, head to toe. He's really, really suffering. He's itchy, dry. He's miserable. And we are trying really hard to bring him to the United States to get treatment at Children's Hospital. I really, really thought that it would be just a crazy long shot and that it wouldn't be doable, but God was already working before we even met Jordell, is what I know for a fact now, because it's a possibility. I had a conference call with the Department of Human Services in Belize the day after we got home, and they are willing, and they have actually done it with 2 kids previously. They've sent kiddos to the States to get medical treatment, so they even know the process of what they need to do on their end to get visas, medical visas, and things like that. So please pray for Jordell and pray for God to open those doors so that we can get him here as soon as possible to get him some relief, because he's really miserable, and we'd just be really excited to be able to help him get some medical treatment. So I think that's it for me. I don't know how you guys want to do it, but everybody can just take turns stepping in front of the mic.
All right. I'm Alex, for anyone who doesn't know. This was my 3rd trip down to Belize, and the first 2 trips that I went on were a lot more, labor focused. Like, we did a lot more building, painting, just work projects. So there wasn't as much time spent with the kids in my previous 2 trips. And I will say this trip, spending 100% of our time with the kids, this was a lot more challenging, at least for me, than any physical project that we could have ever done. Just the emotional toll it takes on you, and the mental toll it takes, and just how much you want to do for those kids down there. It's just it's pretty heartbreaking, but it also just kind of instills hope in you and the kids when we have repeat visitors, and multiple groups go down there once or twice a year, and just be able to love on those kids, because they really need it. They just need attention and love, and just people to spend time with them. And I got a chance to see that a lot more in this trip, and I feel like God was really working on my heart and just helping me to adjust my attitude around a few things, just in the States, and even as part of the team, with the cancellations and all the roadblocks that we've encountered. It's very easy to get pretty cynical and like everything sucks mode in your brain, but God really turned our hearts around, and especially mine, and just getting to see the impact that we have on the kids, and from the first day to the last day, the connections that we've made. It was really hard to leave some of them, but it's just more reason to go back, and more reason to just keep praying for them, and just keep serving God, because God wants us to be there, and he wants us to make an impact in those 2 specific children's homes, and I want to be a part of it, and I'd love to see anyone who hasn't gone be a part of that someday too. So that's my story.
My name's Will. Relatively new to this church. I started coming here about a little over a year ago. Didn't know anything about mission trips. I got here just before you did the trip last year, I think. So got to hear the feedback, see the video from that one. To be honest, I was pretty skeptical about the whole mission trip part of it. Talking to people over the years, it always seems like, pick an exotic location, find some fun activities, and then maybe squeeze in some charity. And I always kind of think, why are mission trips always to places like Hawaii or Taiwan, or, and so I was a little skeptical, and I was like, this is Belize, okay, it's Caribbean, let's hang out in a little grass-covered hut on the beach, drinking Mai Tais, talking about the charitable work we're doing. I'm here to tell you, it's work. Alisha runs a tight ship. There was no doubt at any point in time that this trip was for anything other than those kids. If there was anything schedule changed that required more time, that time didn't get taken from the kids. It got taken. We shortened our lunches. We got up early. The kids got the time that was budgeted for them. That was truly amazing. Enough, I think everyone's going to talk about the kids, and I was just going to talk about, just for me and my faith, hanging out with this group of people, such strong believers, people of faith, in that stressful environment, and just seeing how people of faith, all the curveballs, there were so many curveballs, always some stuff, always changing, and everybody just working together, good attitudes, positive attitudes. We always knew that it was going to work out, and it just beyond amazing, just to see it, because faith is easy when life is easy. But when you're in that stressful, you're hot, you're sweaty, bug bites, all the stuff that was going on, and we just keep moving forward and working through it. Truly amazing. And then lastly, I just, like John, he's a good inspiration for working faith into pretty much, he couldn't go through the drive-through without talking about faith. For me, it's a little bit harder to bring those things up, but having this Belize trip in my repertoire, because it's like, hey, I just got back from Belize. What did you do? Oh, it was a mission trip. And then it gives me an opportunity to talk God in a way that normally you might not be able to talk about God in a conversation. So super grateful for that as well. So yeah, it was a pleasure traveling with you guys.
Same here, Will.
Me too, Will.
Will got the nickname Mosquito while we were there, and I was thinking a little bit about mosquito bites, and when you get a bite at first is when it's pretty once you discover it, that's when you want to scratch, and you feel it, and it's there, and then kind of lingers, and eventually, now that we're back, it's starting to not be as itchy. And I was thinking about how, we get up here and we share, and maybe you go on your own trips and you feel things, and there's memories and little memorabilias, but then eventually things fade. And just like the bites, they go away, and maybe you get another one and you're reminded of it. But I guess I just wanted to put into what I'm going to share today that, you're going to listen and want to go on a trip today, but it doesn't really matter if that's how you feel today. It matters when there's the opportunity, and Alisha's asking if you want to go on the next trip. And that's when you should remember what we said today. Because after seeing my mom travel, I don't have a lot of sympathy for anyone who's like, I don't want to because, my mom was on crutches, in 900-degree weather, and she made it work. So, 1, go on a mission trip. 2, I got to talk with a girl that is 16 this summer, and she's been there a while, and she shared with me that she got saved. So that alone was another great reason why going and getting to hear that from her directly was super meaningful. And then I also wanted to just share that traveling with this group of people, echoing what Will said, is awesome. And I love our church family, and it doesn't matter how big we are or what we're doing, but being human and getting to interact with other humans is one of the best parts of life. It's also one of the worst parts of life, but if other people didn't exist, nothing's worth it. So good trip, good group, good friends on the other side of the plane, and it's sad, but it's also nice to see your other family, which is what Belize is turning into and what the kids are turning into, because we got to see some of the older ones who are they're not even technically in the orphanage anymore. They're out having a job doing their thing, and it's evolved a little bit for me. And I didn't get to look at the date, but I was just thinking a cool answered prayer also was, at one point I wrote in my journal that I think it was I wrote down my top 7 prayers, and one of them is that my mom would go on a mission trip. And I don't know, must probably at least 7-8 years now later, she got to this summer. So proud of you. Wow. Hope there's more. And I don't need to keep talking.
I just want to say thank you to everybody here. There's only 30 of us in this church, but the impact we have, not only here, but just across the world, is pretty amazing for such a small congregation that we have. I just thank you for always giving, and as a church, we need to continue to keep giving, continue to grow our relationships in Belize. And as other people have said, you can't really grasp it until you go for yourself and see it, or experience it or whatever. But so if you haven't been, sign up for the next trip and come experience it. And if you can't, continue to keep giving, and just, it's amazing to go back and see. And as like they've said, the older kids that we've seen every single time, they used to ask, "Oh, are you guys gonna come back?" And we'd explain, "Yeah, we're gonna come back." But now they ask, "When are you coming back?" And I was like, "Oh, it's only gonna be 6 months or a year." And then that gives them something to look forward to, that, oh, in 6 months I get another really good week with these guys that truly love me and care about me. So that's my takeaway on most of the trips, is just, continue to live here and work hard and give to the people that need it. So that's what I got.
So I'm Marlene, and like everybody said, it's so hard to see what you got to see. But I think everybody needs to go and see it firsthand, because seeing the wrap up every year is totally different from being there. And the kids wanting all of the attention really breaks your heart. Yeah. So everybody plan on going. And thanks for the team who helped me through the whole journey. So appreciated.
This was only my second time going, and let me tell you, it doesn't get any easier leaving. Like everybody said, there was only about 2 or 3 kids that were still there that remembered me, or had changed orphanages that had remembered me. But hearing them say, like, you did come back, like, because I had told them I was going to come back. And with COVID and everything, I didn't get to do it immediately. But their excitement that I did come back and I remembered them was more than enough to even just get me back down there a 3rd and 4th and 7th time, hopefully. This team was awesome, and there's nothing that I would have changed about it. I think every mistake and every mishap that happened, God is using for something. All of you guys helped me put together these hygiene kits, and everybody donated and everybody gave, and thank you so much. You guys should have seen the look on all of those kids' faces when they got those. I had counted them, and I even had Alisha count them before we had left, and somehow by the time we got there, the night before we were going to hand them out, I was organizing them, and we were 15 short. And I was nervous. I didn't know what we were gonna do. I didn't have enough time to go buy new stuff. I was just praying, and I think I told everybody, because obviously everybody knew we were 15 short. The motto for the day that day was bread and fish. And Jesus was gonna multiply, and he was going to show up in the way that we needed him to that day. And he did. Actually, we were 15 short, and somehow at each individual orphanage, there were 15 kids that weren't there. So we had way more than enough, and every kid got theirs. And I was even able to kind of finagle it to where maybe each kid got an extra thing, whereas they wouldn't have if we had the exact right amount. This trip is something that I couldn't encourage somebody to go on more, because like Marlene said, seeing it firsthand and being there with them and watching the video. Yes, the video makes you emotional, and it makes you immediately want to go there and meet the kids and give them all the love in the world. But being there with them and seeing the looks on their faces and seeing them get these things that they really don't ever get is an experience that I think absolutely everybody should be a part of. So thank you to the team, and like Aaron said, thank you to all of you guys who donated, who gave money, who were there in financial investment and emotional investment.